Hello and welcome to Indiana Innovates, presented by Media Fuel, your monthly roundup of what's in Indiana Tech. I'm Jennifer Hallowell, Executive Director of the Indiana Technology and Innovation Association. Today, my guest host is Christopher Day, co-founder and CEO of DemandJump and ITIA Board Treasurer. Thanks for joining us, Toph.
Oh, thank you, Jen. Excited to be here.
So DemandJump, which was founded in 2015, is a leading marketing strategy platform based in Indianapolis. You recently acquired Metonymy Media. Congratulations on that acquisition and continued growth for DemandJump.
Well, thanks, Jen. We are really excited about the acquisition of Metonymy Media. DemandJump powers content that ranks on page one of search engines, and we're now building out the center of excellence for our companies across the globe to enable them to deploy modern marketing best practices through pillar-based marketing. It's the holy grail to driving better marketing results and closing that loop between sales and marketing once and for all.
That is exciting and certainly welcome news for many companies, so congratulations again.
Thank you.
Now let's get started with what's in the news in Indiana Tech today. The B Corp, based in Indiana, recently completed $1 million investment round led by IU Ventures to expand their agri-tech solution, Verifly, which uses infrared imagery to measure the strength and pollination value of a honeybee colony without opening the hive. Wyatt Wells, co-founder and CMO of the B Corp, joins us from California, where he's working on implementing this technology in almond fields. Wyatt, tell us about your technology and what you're working on right now.
Sure, yeah, thank you for having us, Jennifer. So right now what we're working on is just wrapping up our finishing touches on our fourth ever almond pollination season, which is kind of where we are the most busy for sure. We make a lot of our revenue working with the almond growers to help measure the strength of their hives for pollination. This past year was actually our most technologically successful ever. Our results were more accurate than ever, and our reports were delivered to our growers quicker than ever. So it's been great to see really how far our technology has come in the past 4 years since we first started working on it. And I would say the biggest, most exciting thing is that it allows us to get the product into customers' hands so we can scale at a much greater pace.
What will your company be able to accomplish with this latest investment?
So this latest investment will be really important for us to get some more key hires on board. Really, we want to just fuel all of our money into getting the technology as quick and user-friendly as it can possibly be so that we can have no problems getting it out to our international customers. And also just hiring the right personnel. So as we branch off into new pollination events in new parts of the world, it'll be really important to make sure that we're responsive to our customers no matter what time of day it is. So we've got a lot of traction in Australia and New Zealand right now. And right now we don't have a 24-hour team, so that's definitely going to be a focus of ours, just making sure, we've got the right people in the right places to make sure that the product runs smoothly.
Congratulations on this growth and your innovative ag tech solution.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jennifer. It's really been a pleasure to be here and to talk with you a little bit about our product. And of course, we're excited for what's coming next. Thank you.
For our Around Indiana segment, I'm joined by Mike Rutz, co-founder and CEO of MakeMyMove. MakeMyMove, based in Indianapolis, was born out of the pandemic and the shift to remote work that's allowing many people, particularly in the tech industry, to live and work from anywhere. MakeMyMove offers a platform where communities, both in Indiana and across the country, can advertise incentives and quality of life amenities to attract residents to live and work there. Workers looking to relocate can then browse and compare these offers. Mike, how many and what types of communities are offering incentives to attract more workers?
So it's really exciting. I mean, the movement is growing and the market is growing. Obviously, with the explosion of remote workers, communities saw a new opportunity to actually grow population and workforce. They're starting to see it as a new form of economic development because they're totally incremental to the economy. They're new consumers, new taxpayers. They bring a family with them a lot of times. So they not only do they grow population and workforce, but they're extremely valuable to the economy. So we like to call it retail economic development. When we started in December of 2020, we had around 20 communities on the site that were offering incentives, and that was basically everybody around the country. Now there's almost 70 that are offering incentives, and we have close to 100 communities that are on the site.
Wow, that's incredible. What kinds of incentives are proving to be the most impactful for people?
So we actually wanted to explore and learn a little bit about how these remote workers were actually thinking about these incentives, and we wanted to ask them, does a check really matter? 50% of them said that a cash incentive would help them relocate to a community as long as that community had the amenities and the quality of life that they were looking for. So no one's going to move somewhere where they don't want to live just for a $5,000 or $10,000 check, right? So as long as the community is a place where they looks like they want to be, a place where they want to live, the check will actually help them get there and help them make that decision and cross that threshold.
Can you share any success stories from the Indiana communities competing for remote workers?
Absolutely. The IEDC has been super supportive. They've actually offered matching grants to communities around the state that are starting remote worker programs. We have 4 today right now in West Lafayette with Purdue Research Foundation, Bloomington, Indiana with Pat East in the Mill, Muncie, Indiana with Dan Ridenour, the mayor there, started one, and then Josh Marsh in Greensburg, Indiana started one. And we have a really healthy pipeline of communities that are getting ready to start programs as well. And so far in the last 6 months, we've recruited over 30 people through those programs.
So that's really exciting. Thanks, Mike, and congrats on your recent capital raise. That signals even more growth for the company.
Thanks for having me, Toph.
Absolutely.
For our Imagine segment, we're joined by 2 Hoosier entrepreneurs who are tackling challenges in education. First with me, I have Darye Henry, co-founder and CEO of AfterSchool HQ and one of our ITIA board members. Darye, give us some background on your company and your mission to help students.
Yeah, so AfterSchool HQ, our mission really is to help students find their passion and their purpose earlier in life. We do that specifically by enabling them to get access to more enrichment programs. We have seen students, when they get involved in these programs earlier, they're able to experiment, find out what they want to be, whether that's gymnastics, engineering, etc. So the way we do that specifically is through our platform, enabling schools, but also parents to more easily find these programs and get their kids registered much faster.
Now, how's the pandemic impacted your company and the demand for these kinds of programs?
Yeah, so initially 2020, when it first hit, obviously it slowed things down dramatically. Kids were not involved, and obviously schools were closed. Since then, especially with this last school year, it's bounced back. It's even above pre-pandemic levels, which is really great. We found that ultimately, I think parents and obviously kids are just tired of sitting in front of computer screens all the time. So that's been great, and kids have been involved in getting access to more of these programs.
So I understand AfterSchool HQ also has programs that are geared toward helping kids who are interested in tech jobs, tech skills. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen programs launch at different schools. Typically, they're around either coding or even robotics, but that could be through Legos and different things like that. So we've really seen a lot of interest with students with that as well. So one of the programs that we've launched with previously is with Kalvin with Techucate as well. And so these programs are awesome. Kids get a chance to try a lot of different things, experiment, learn how to solve problems. So we've seen those programs really have an impact. We love to see more access. Hopefully we can even get more funding to get programs in more schools across Indianapolis, but also across the state.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can help spread the word on that too. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're excited about what you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
We're also excited to have Kalvin Jones, co-founder of Techucate Indianapolis, with us today. Kalvin, you're working to expose more students to tech skills, particularly students of color. How are you reaching out to these students, and what kind of programming do you provide?
For a lot of our outreach, we use platforms like AfterSchool HQ, social media, and just word of mouth. Some of the programs that we offer is Intro to Circuits, Intro to Logic, Problem Solving, and also we're ramping up our adult programming for this year.
Awesome. So what kind of outcomes are you seeing?
We're seeing some great outcomes, especially with our Intro to Circuits, because kids have a lot of hands-on experience with those circuit boards and breadboards as we transition to microcontrollers and logic, so they can kind of find and attune those programming skills.
So how can the association and the folks who are watching this help support these efforts?
Well, you have many ways to support it. You can always go to our website, techucate.educate, or just request a workshop so we can come and connect with your kids.
Awesome. We will help spread the word and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
For this month's policy initiative, we're joined by State Representative Jake Teshka from South Bend, Indiana, to give us an update on technology-related bills he's authored during the legislative session. Representative Teshka, you authored multiple bills this session aimed at embracing technology and innovation. One such proposal deals with blockchain technology in state government. Tell us about the legislation and what you hope it will accomplish.
Well, thanks, Toph. House Bill 1211 is the blockchain bill, and it is essentially a requirement for the state government to issue an RFI, a request for information, where we're inviting the private sector to come in and tell us how we might be able to use blockchain technology to make a user experience for Hoosiers who interact with their state government a better experience. And when we think about blockchain and the idea that we may be able to increase security, that we may be able to give Hoosiers put their minds at ease, trusting us with their sensitive data. We can think of agencies like the Department of Revenue, the BMV, where we do our licensing. Those sorts of interactions with state government where we're really putting out whether it's sensitive financial data or sensitive personal data, that we might be able to keep that in a more secure way and transact in a way that's cost effective both to us as a state government and to the Hoosiers that are using it, and ultimately offer them a better product.
You've also worked on legislation to encourage more youth apprenticeships. One of our policy goals is to expand the amount of internships, apprenticeships, and other workplace experiences in tech fields to help build the tech talent pipeline. Can your legislation help with this as well?
I think it absolutely can, and we intentionally wrote the definition in my bill, which is House Bill 1094. We wrote it very broadly, and I think that a lot of times when folks think about workplace learning and they think about youth apprenticeships, they think a lot about trades and maybe working with your hands. Maybe it's a welder, maybe it's a plumber, those sorts of things. But we intentionally left it very broad so that we could encapsulate things like the technology industry, where we think students would be able to jump in at an early age and explore the possibility of a career in whether it's coding or robotics and those sorts of things. Some things that you might need a college degree for, but maybe some things where you might only need an associate's plus some certifications. And so, the goal is to get many pathways for students where they're not necessarily required to go to a four-year university if that's not required of them for their chosen path, and hopefully we reduce debt that way, and we get these students involved at an early age where we can really make an impact and get them on their way early.
That's great. We are grateful for the work you're doing, and please let us know if there's anything we can do to support your efforts.
Well, thank you, Toph. I'm grateful for all that you guys do to push these types of initiatives, and I think that that's the help that you can give, is just to continue to push that. I think Indiana can become the Silicon Valley of the Midwest if we continue to look at policies like this that encourage innovation and technology to either spring up from within our state or move into our state.
And that's our show for today. Are you interested in joining ITIA and being part of our effort to move Indiana's technology industry forward? We would love to have you.
That's right, Jen. ITIA is the statewide association representing Indiana's technology companies and entrepreneurs to ensure Indiana is the best place to live and work in tech. Join us today at indianatechnology.org and follow us on Twitter. Thanks to our presenting sponsor, Media Fuel, for the production of this show. And thank you for tuning in. Join us next month to learn what's in Indiana Tech.